What's poppin', y'all? Welcome to the show. This is the Good Days Only podcast with me, your host, Octavio, bringing you good coffee, good vibes, and good music. A podcast for all, bringing you the honest caffeine breakdowns and reviews, sprinkling in some good news to add positivity to your day during these stressful times that we call 2020. And last but not least, going to be rounding off the podcast here with a little parting gift for y'all to help get you through the week. Let you know what I'll be bumping in my headphones on the commute to work, while studying, vacuuming, whatever. But without further ado, let's get into it. All right, let's break it down for episode number 2. Here we are. Thank you for tuning in. And let's go over the 5 categories for the caffeine breakdown, all right? So number 1, again, being the coffee name and the roaster. Number 2, the appearance and packaging. Number 3, the roast type. And number 4, the brew style. And number 5 is the coffee grind type, all right? As we learned from the first podcast, going to be going over these 5 categories with the coffee that we got on the list for today that we'll be sipping on through the week to help, get our day started in the morning, started off right. All right. But, before we get started with the second podcast here, I realized that, some of you might be thinking, who the hell is this guy? Who am I? Why should you listen to my coffee breakdowns and the reviews that I have, the news that I tell you, or the music recommendations that I leave you with? What makes me special? No, I'm not a barista. I did not go to school to study the ins and outs of the beautiful art that is coffee roasting. Honestly, I'm just a guy. A guy that likes good coffee, I like my good cup of Joe in the morning. I do like good music. And, I like to learn. And who doesn't like good news, right? But I've always been a glass half full kind of person, trying to survive and thrive, baby. And I also like to talk to others, not myself. I don't talk to myself much, other than for this, I guess. But, I'm doing this for you and for me, for all of us. I'm doing this for all of us, spreading the wealth that is knowledge. I hope I can bring you a little piece of something new with every show and spark your interest to maybe explore something you might not have thought of exploring before, just a guy that's bringing you my take on things, my review of these coffees that I'm trying, and the learning process along the way of starting this podcast and going, through these coffees and this music and just taking a deeper dive into things that sometimes we take for granted. I don't know. But, enough about that. Enough about me for now. Again, thanks for tuning in. Let's break it down. And today is a special day. I learned a good deal from diving into this coffee for that we got coming up for this weekend. It's one that I will definitely be purchasing again. How to do this one for the motherland. All right. We're going to start off with number 1, the coffee name and the roaster. This coffee is courtesy of Conversation Coffee Roasters. This is a family-owned and operated company located in Othello, Washington. Initially, this was a dream of a coffee enthusiast roasting a smooth, delicious cup of coffee, and it grew into a business, encouraging people to connect through the love of good coffee. Wow. So what does Conversation mean? Well, let me tell you what it means. This is taken from the Conversation website here. It is the act of living with or a way of life within community. That's beautiful. Each bag of coffee offers a unique conversation to initiate a deeper connection within your community and maybe, just maybe, even change the world. Wow. Hey, Conversation. World-changing coffee coming from Conversation, Othello, Washington. So from Conversation, we have there, no clever name here, not knocking it. Because as we learned from the last, the talk is in the bean. The talk is in the bean, I guess, But if you listen to the first podcast, the last podcast, I am a sucker for a good name. Not knocking this name, but today we have Conversation's Mexican Dark. Kind of edgy, maybe. I don't know. I mean, if you flip those words around, you might have an issue in 2020. You know what I'm saying? Not knocking it though. Conversation gets to the point. This is the most popular roast from Conversation. It's a smooth and mellow coffee with beans coming from the Chiapas state in southern Mexico, close to Guatemala. The combination of high elevation and old volcanic ash soil offer the many small farms in this region an opportunity to produce high quality flavor with protective organic growing methods. Dang, is that not just wonderful? That's amazing. Okay, but let's now that we got a little bit of a background on Conversation and where they get this this coffee from, let's dive into the appearance and the packaging. Okay, I was very happy with this packaging. Maybe maybe like to see a little bit more color on this package. Again, we have the brown bag, but this one is a very sturdy. It's a thick barrier between the precious, delicate little beans and the harsh outside world they were brought into without their choosing. All right. It's something that makes me feel these beans will be kept fresh even after opening if you plan on keeping them in the same bag. Usually I transfer my beans into a different container, like a good seal on it, but this package comes with a resealable zip seal style zipper. It's called a stand-up zipper pouch is the official name, I think. But overall, solid packaging. Usually you get the bag, with it has that flip over thing. You got to flip the bag over itself like you're folding like 17 times. And then you got to close the little wire on the sides. And I mean, that never really seals the bag for me, at least. I don't know. But this one, the zipper, you hit different. Good job, Conversation, on this one. And it also has the sticker with the roast type, the weight amount of the coffee, and what you got in the bag, and their message on the back. It's awesome. I did get the 8-ounce bag from Conversation. They also have a 1 pound option and the 5 pound bag as well for those of you that are looking for 5 pounds of beans, I guess. Let me take a little sip here. Yeah. Hey. Conversation doing their thing. Another awesome thing here on the appearance and the packaging that they got. This is a very unique thing about Conversation. I have not seen this on anybody else's coffee bags, but the coffee maestros at Conversation, they attach a little sticker on the bag with a different question on each bag of coffee, which I think is awesome because, if you're sharing the coffee with somebody, it gives you a good topic to discuss. Or if you're enjoying a cup of Joe Solo, it gives you a chance to really sit and think to yourself and reflect, What we have on this bag today, it's a wonderful introspective question. When was the last time you cried? And over what? Well, let me tell you, because mine was recent. Mine was very. We are rewatching the Game of Thrones right now. GOT fans out there, shout out. And man, there are several parts in the show that are tearjerkers for sure. But dude, most recently we just watched hey, spoiler alert here, okay? If you have not watched Game of Thrones, skip the next 30, 45 seconds, okay? If you plan on watching Game of Thrones and have not started that since you're super late to the I don't know. I don't know if I should really feel bad for you because this show came out a long time ago. But most recently we came across that scene. Shout out to my man Hodor holding it down. Quite literally, we watched that moment where you find out, why they call him Hodor and the reason that, he's always repeating the same phrase and sounds like a Pokemon that, only says their name, Squirtle, Pika, Pika. But somehow everybody understands him. So I don't understand that. But anyways, yes, this was about 2 weeks ago where, that scene where he's holding the door and holding all the White Walkers back behind, which allows Bran and the other girl, that little, I don't know her name, whatever her name is, the girl that's carrying Bran around in his little sled, the one that has the creepy brother, he ended up dying, I don't know, but yes, man, that was a real tearjerker, and that there might have been a tear or two. for me, and that was the most recent time. And I think that's justifiable though. Poor guy, poor Hodor, R.I.P. Man, I was the first time that we watched that, since we are rewatching. The first time that I watched that, I did not expect that at all, and it still hits the same this time around. I was and it was sad, man. Yeah, it's sad, poor guy. But see, hey, these are the types of conversations that can come from what? A bag of coffee. A bag of coffee. Good job, Conversation. They got us doing exactly what they wanted to do with this coffee, and that's bring us together, bring you and me together to have conversations and connect over a nice cup of coffee. They got me in my feelings right now. But let's move on to the next order of business, okay? The roast type for this one. And this one is pretty apparent by the name. This is a Mexican dark, all right? Again, walking the fine line there with the two words, but not going to judge. Putting that aside, I do like my dark roast coffees. Coffee found its way to Mexico first in the late 1700s, and Mexico is actually, I found out, in the top 10, list here, the largest coffee producers in the world, coming in at number 9 in 2020 across a couple different sites that I found that on. So probably safe to say, we're just going to call it the top 10 though, because this is a fluctuating thing. This can change, and I don't know exactly when the time is that it's up, like, oh, you're number 9 now. Oh, next year, I guess 2021. I don't know, in January. But, all right. Hey, let's get into the brew style here that we got. And this time, on the website, the Conversational website, they do have the brewing suggestions from the coffee roasters. They have the pour over suggested, the drip, espresso, machine and stovetop, the AeroPress, and the press, or French press. But so for this one, I did do a little something different. I tried it with both. I did both the French press and also with the pour over. You guys know I do like my pour overs. With the two different styles, the two different grind types as well. And the results, hey, honestly, I didn't know this before, but I would say it did taste, I don't know if it tasted a whole lot differently. I feel like with the French press, I could taste a little bit more of the sweetness in this one. But what was pretty amazing was the color of the coffee was a little bit different as well. It had a little bit more of like a reddish tint to it. And that might just be because of the source of the beans, Didn't find that anywhere for certain online, but interesting there. A little bit different consistency there in the looks and the appearance of the coffee. For those of you that have issues with elevated or high cholesterol, you might have seen the news or the reviews, about the French press, the press not being able to filter out what is called the cafestol. This is a substance that causes the body's, the LDL, or aka it's also known as the low density lipoproteins, the quote bad cholesterol levels to rise. So I would probably check with your doctor if this is a worry, before doing the French press, or just stick to the other brewing methods, of your choice. So, but anyways, yes. So the pour over and the French press, both were amazing. Both were delicious. Didn't get any of that sludge. You just got to be sure to have the correct grind type, for sure. And so that brings us to the next subject here, number 5, the grind type. And we have, the many different grind types, as mentioned in podcast 1, from the extra fine, also known as the Turkish grind, up to the extra coarse. Okay. But when I made this with the pour over, I used that same medium fine grind, with the blade grinder that we have here. Just hold that sucker down for about 10 to 12 seconds or so. And, then typically, I'll tilt the grinder, as it's grinding, and to get a nice even blend all throughout, and slowly pour that hot agua, that means water, over the grounds, allowing the extraction of those oils and minerals in that pour over. And again, take your time with this one. About 1.5 to 2 minutes for that pour over. Okay. But in the French press, I used a little bit different grind. It was a little bit more coarse. Okay. So with this one, it was a coarse grind, same blade grinder. But this time I used a different technique, a pulsing technique, kind of like if you imagine yourself like in a racing movie, like Tokyo Drift, you're at the starting line and you're revving your engine, you want the grounds to look a little bit coarse, like coarse salt maybe is a good comparison, like the salt crystals that you would see in a salt grinder before grinding those up. About that size. That's how you want the coarse beans to be. Okay. But, hey, overall, solid Mexican dark from Conversatio. I like the origin story as well. I like the origin here. Just a guy with the love of coffee that wanted to make some good coffee and bring people together. Or the origin story is simple, sweet, gets to the point. And the appearance and packaging here makes me feel like the beans are going to be protected. The roast type, this hits for me, the darks. It's great with the pour over and the French press for the brew style. And both grind types produced a great tasting cup. So overall, I would say a solid 9.5. And I'm only taking the 0.5 off from your Conversatio. For the color on the packaging, I would like to see a little more color, although the packaging was sturdy. I like that. But also a little bit lacking on the creativity of the name. Okay? I like a good name. But all in all, a good coffee. The talk was definitely in the bean with this one. Check them out. Check Conversatio. Check their website out at conversatiocoffee.com, and that's CONVERSATIO, the word coffee.com. Conversation without the N. Conversatiocoffee.com. Check them out. Give them a look. They got plenty of good coffees. All of my Coug fam out there that would be traveling from the 206 to the 509 and back, maybe make a little pit stop in the good old Othello. All right. And pick yourself up some Conversatio coffee. Let me get a little sip action here. All right, but hey, where the hell's the good news? Let's transition into that, huh? And let's start this one off with the fact that we are officially into fall. What? That's right. The first day of fall was this past Tuesday, 9/22/20. All right. And I know that, how excited this makes some of y'all. I am excited for the fall season as well. This last summer was a little bit, strange for everybody. And it didn't really feel like much of a summer, honestly. But hey, it's fall now. All my Libra listeners out there, shout out, it's Libra season. Let's go. It's officially pumpkin spice and oversized sweater season. All the macho males out there rolling your eyes at me right now. Pumpkin spice can hit, all right, sometimes. Rolling your eyes at me, dude. You snuggle yourself up in your favorite hoodie, lace up the Yeezys or whatever shoes you got on, get yourself to the Bath and Body Works, get your girl some of her favorite pumpkin spice scented candles and lotions, hit up the Marshalls next door maybe, and, pick up some of the nice fall decor. And trust me, you ain't gonna be getting cold this fall season, my boy. But, all jokes aside, dude, we got some good days coming ahead. This is a time for people to start looking forward to the holidays, the eggnog by the fireplace. Although they will feel a little bit different this year, due to COVID. Maybe not as big of family reunions as we have been so lucky and fortunate to have in the past. We can still appreciate each other and each other's presence, much more this holiday season, and still celebrate with, those that we are able to be with, in your household, and, loved ones that are afar, just gives you a chance to reflect and appreciate on all those good times that we used to have that we took for granted, maybe, But I wanted to give up a little update on the fires that we mentioned in the previous episode. And, up and down the West Coast here, the USA, it's been real challenging, still trying to contain those fires in California, especially the Creek Fire, which recently now is the largest in California. That's spread over 300,000 acres as of yesterday, a couple days ago. But this fire is a 1/3 containment overall. And, again, thank you to all those on the front lines fighting those fires, and, positive thoughts being sent out your way. All those firefighters, the brave people that are on the front lines. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, lots of rain early and throughout last week around Washington and Oregon that helped calm the flames in the last couple of days. There was a bit of a worry with winds coming in after the rain. And, the worry there being the spread of the fire across perimeters that were set by the firefighters and those teams. Although we're not completely out of danger, it looks like, meteorologists and the fire chiefs and firefighters did say that, the fire season should be coming to an end in October for both, the east and the west side here in Washington state and through Oregon. As we get into October, as for Oregon here, the firefighters are now focusing mainly, it sounds like, on 9 major fires throughout the state. This number is down from 17 major fires a few weeks back. So, it's following that downward trend, which gives us hope that the fire season is truly coming to an end. And we hope that this happens sooner rather than later. Everybody out there staying safe and taking care. Some other good news here. Hey, local to me, the Seattle Department of Transportation, they've been working on this for a while, and they still got some more work to be done, but they're working on a new bike route. That's right. Through my neighborhood here in Beacon Hill, that would make it a more direct and safe route for those on the good old-fashioned 2-wheel pedal bicicletas. That means bike for those of y'all that don't speak Spanish. Now, pretty excited about this, dude. Any of you who bike out there have probably been in that sticky situation with the high traffic roads, angry 4-wheel box drivers getting way too close for comfort. That's no fun. So this bike lane will be a huge improvement for the community here. Good job, Seattle. It's kind of funny because bikers used to bug me when I was driving only, I was always annoyed at how slow they would be on the side of the road, and I was always mad that I was stuck behind them. But now, hey, I'm one of the pack, all right? And we got to have each other's backs, you know what I'm saying? I now allow way more space when possible, to slow down. And it don't matter if I got to go 10 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour speed zone. As long as it's all safe to do so, got to respect our fellow humans biking. I urge all of you to do the same. Next time you're annoyed at, the slow biker, give them a second. They out here reducing the carbon footprint. Come on, you got to support that. Doing some good in the world and getting some exercise in as well. Doing good for themselves. They're not trying to be annoying. Sorry. We can only pedal so fast, all right? Cut us some slack. But, all right, I'll stop talking about the biking. New biking trails coming in soon, and that is super exciting. Also, some good news here local to Seattle. We got a lot of good news in Seattle lately. We found actually out a couple weeks ago, the mama orca whale, Talequat, has given birth to a handsome baby boy orca. Aww. This story and why it's so awesome is because if some of you might recall, back in 2018, this mama whale, Talequat, had given birth to a baby orca, and that baby orca unfortunately did not make it, died shortly after being born. But the mama whale refused to let her baby sink, and she actually carried her baby for 17 days total and upwards of 1,000 miles. Before, unfortunately, it was time for the baby to go. But, great to hear that she's given birth again, and this baby boy is healthy, and they're thriving out there. Seen a couple articles with the updates, and it's super sweet. You guys should look that one up because that made me smile, brought a smile to my day, to my face. We got baby whales popping up left and right out here in Seattle. With more recent news, actually, this last week of another baby orca born to the same pod as Talekwa and her baby boy, but by a different mama. What? This was announced on Friday morning, and so that's really exciting. Check out those headlines. That's, I'm smiling right now just thinking about those little baby orcas swimming around. Oh. But, some other news out there in the world. I did come across an article that brightened up my day as well, and I could not stop reading this because it was so just kind in general. I came across this article. You might have seen this by now, but shout out to the man, no disrespect, Mr. John Kinney, an electrician that was hired for a job by a lady, just a normal job, to help a woman by the name of Gloria, as is in the articles, to look at her lighting because she noticed, some sparks coming out of her light fixtures, and that's no good, so what do? You call up the electrician, knock, John Kinney's at the door, and there was he took a look through the house, and it looks like this house was unfortunately not in good shape. Plumbing damage, the parts of the ceiling were missing. There was holes in the house, like, maybe unbeknownst to her, she had some little buddies coming in, some little raccoon fellas and fellettes. They are cute. Don't get me wrong, they are cute, but you don't want them living with you. They're bringing in trash into your place and shit, literal shit. But anyways, John Kinney, hats off to this gentleman, because Miss Gloria's house was not in good shape, all right? And this man started a fundraiser page, and, this has since raised over $100,000 to help rebuild her home and allow her to live safely. So that's just a great story overall. This gentleman just, he didn't have to do that, but he just wanted to help her out. And she's very appreciative of, I'm sure people around the community heard of this, and everybody kind of started gathering around. People came and volunteered, giving whatever they could. And that's great. It's great to hear when somebody that is in need of assistance, is not even asking. She wasn't asking for help. Like, she was just a tough lady. She was going to do this thing on her own and get through it somehow. But everybody else, lent a helping hand and supported that. And that's amazing. We need a little bit more of that in the world, make this world a better place. But although the work here on Miss Gloria's house may be close to finished, according to the report, John Kinney said the two of them have built an enduring bond over this project, which will last forever. Which is amazing, looking out for the elderly and lending them a helping hand when able. I mean, we wouldn't really be here if it weren't for our older generation, right? Our mothers, fathers, grannies, and papas, Who else are we going to learn from if not those that have gone through life before us, eh? And yeah, we could look at history books and learn, but it ain't quite the same when you're getting it, firsthand from those in your life who've lived through it, who you love and you respect, and it's just different. You feel? More news. Let's keep the good news rolling. That's what I'm talking about. Drum roll. For this one, let me get a sip. The Pac-12, all my Pac-12 fans. Pac-12 is officially going to be back, baby, starting November 6th for football. Men and women's basketball starting November 25th, coming up a month out. Originally, all sports in the Pac-12 were being postponed until after the new year of 2021. It will be shorter season, but with everybody taking the proper safety precautions, that's awesome news to hear. We'll wait to hear more about that and updates in the future, but that's really cool for all the sports fans, and all the players that want to get back out there, the staff and for the school, just a large sense of school pride. I know at least being a Wazoo Coug, go Cougs. I know that just if it's missing from Pullman, it's just something it just feels strange, So glad to hear that that's coming back. Some good news, man. That was some good news. That's exciting. Thank you for tuning in and listening to that good news. Hopefully, brought something to your ears that you did not know before, or maybe you already knew that, but let's keep it rolling. All right. Drum roll, please. get a little sip, sip too before we get into the weekly whistle. Sip, sip. And yeah, we're rolling with that name for now. We're still with it. Suggestions in the comments. But hey, weekly whistle. This week we got Mr. Alex Crossan, known better by his stage name Muramasa, Muramasa, bringing you an electronic vibe this week, all right? And before those of y'all that say, I don't like electronic music, listen to this first, man. I'm saying, just look it up. Muramasa, all right? There's a space between Mura and Masa. But this week is an electronic artist, okay? He's got a good mixture in his projects, though. Most popular song, which you may have heard already, is a song called Love Sick. This is all one word. The S is a $sign. Trendy. And this was made widely famous after collaboration with ASAP Rocky, also the S with a $sign, a name that those of you who frequent the hip-hop realm may have heard. Before we get too far into Muramasa's music, I realize it would be great, if I could play some songs and show you what I'm talking about on here. But hey, I'm not trying to get flagged or copyright, for copyright infringement and get sued. It's still something that's in the works. Here in the studio, we are working on that, and hope to accomplish that for the future episodes, to give you guys little snippets of what I'm listening to see if that's something you were actually interested in. I know that would be helpful. But for now, it is what it is. All right. You're just going to have to trust me on this. Type it in. Let me know what you think. I promise not to lead you astray. At least not purposefully. All right? But back to Mr. Muramasa. All right? Most recent album was released earlier this year in 2020. January 2020. All right? Called RYC. Standing for Raw Youth Collage. I believe that's just one of the names of the songs in there. So I think that's actually what it stands for. Raw Youth Collage. It starts with a little teenage angst, naturally with a name like that. Gives me big, late 90s, early 2000s, Linkin Park, Blink-182, Matchbox 20, Red Hot Chili Peppers vibes, in songs like No Hope Generation and I Don't Think I Can Do This Again. But it's got a modern electronic twist to that, and a modern electronic underlying theme. So if you're into those sounds, the lyrical cadence, maybe they're from those other bands, this would be a good album for you to try out and add to your collection, okay? It's a steady, it's got steady upbeat bass lines with plenty of snare drums that make you feel a sense of rebellion, and songs like, Deal With It, and that's DEAL, and it is With It, WIV space IT, featuring British rapper Slow Tie. That's the word slow and Thai, like the food. Although you can feel the rebellion in this song, it's not overpowering, with those cymbals that you might have had from those other bands, God dang, I get it, rock and roll, baby, rock and roll, and all that, but I'm just not down with all that in my ears all the time, those cymbals. But if you listen to the lyrics, you can definitely feel the angst in this. The album does transition, though, from that hectic teenage angst to a sort of realization, that maybe we were getting a little too wacky there for a hot sec, and we're a mature teen now. We chill out towards the end of the teenage years, and maybe, you had your first hit of the little joint with your best buds or your older cousins who you always looked up to, and you could feel that. You could feel that transition. You feel that in the songs like Today and Teenage Headache Dreams. It's pretty awesome how an artist is able to transition into this, and you're brought along for the ride, and you can feel these emotions as you're going through the album. It wraps up with a great last song to the album with an epiphany of sorts. It's in the last song on the album titled Nocturne for Strings and a Conversation. I don't know what that means, but you feel in the moment, It's a calm wind down to that wild ride that we just had, that we just ran through with the 10 previous songs on the album. It's those 10 previous songs are just so not us anymore. We are mature and we're ready for the world. Maybe we just got into college. We're leaving that teenage angst behind. Maybe we spruced up our resume. We're jumping straight into the job market, because we're ready to go. We're ready. I don't know. But yeah, it's a great album overall. Props to the young fella Muramasa, also known as Alex Crossan. At the young age of 24, able to pull a piece of art like this together. Amazing. If you do look into Muramasa and want to add that to your playlists and take a dive into his past music, I highly recommend. But I'll let you know now, the 2017 album is a more low-key electronic mix with like some hip-hop and some chill vibes, okay? Not full of the distorted, static-sounding vocals that you might hear in like the 2020 album. What reminds me of the late 90s, early 2000s kind of scene. But this 2017 album is, is great for a rainy day, cleaning up around the house, background music while you're studying or, working on a project, whatever. Enjoying your nice cup of coffee, looking out the window. Maybe it's raining outside and you're getting ready to pick up a book you've been reading, the favorite book, But anyways, thank you all for tuning in, and thank you for coming along on this journey as we learn together. Hoping to leave you here with maybe a little something new that you learned today. But much love. Until next time. Peace.